Hello, welcome back. Now let's start with the second part of the module. So the second lesson is goes more into detail of the project management, and so that's why I called it getting into the project management. What we will see, first of all, an introduction, the themes, processes, and tailoring. So, as we said before, the project management, Prince2 project management structure is at its basis, it has the principles, then the themes, and the processes, that is the life cycle of the project. All these elements are within a project environment which should be kept continually into consideration. The Prince2 method is composed hence out of 4 integrated elements. What are themes? Themes are aspects of the project management which should be addressed continually and in parallel throughout the project. They are specific areas of knowledge of the project management, and they reply to the question what. Principles are 7, and themes are 7. So let's start with the first theme. The first theme is the business case, and it's strictly connected to the principle continuous business justification, and it replies to the question why. Why are we undertaking the project? The second is organization. We said that projects are temporary organizations. Organizations because there is a defined list of roles and responsibilities. And it replies to the question who. Who is doing what? Quality. The quality is connected to the principle focus on products. What? What is the project going to deliver? What are we getting at the end of it? And how are these products being described? So what are the product's components? The plans. The plans refers both to focus on products and manage by stages. So how are we going to arrive from the specific objective to the final output? What are the specialized products that we need to plan in order to arrive at the final output? Risk. It's connected to learn from experience. What if is the question. So what happens if an event that is a threat or an opportunity occurs? How should we manage it? Change. Change is strictly connected to manage by exception. What is the impact of a change on the project objectives? So what is the impact of enough specification, a request for change, any problem, any concern related to the project? Progress is connected to manage by stages and continued business justification. And it replies to the questions, where are we? Where are we going? Should we proceed further? Of course, as we said, the project should be always viable, achievable, and realizable. So we should always ask ourselves, should we proceed? Is there still a valid business justification for the project to go ahead? So when does the project manager deal with these themes? Themes are designed during the starting up a project. are planned during the initiating of project, are monitored and managed during the controlling stage, are evaluated during the managing stage boundary and closing a project. So they are managed in parallel throughout all the project life cycle. How do we manage these 7 themes? How does the project manager manage the themes? They are managed through baseline documents. As I said before, the Prince2 has a set of baseline documents for managing these themes in order to support project managers with the necessary questions for having a well-defined and successful project. These baseline documents should then be adapted and tailored to the specific project being developed. They can be downloaded from the internet freely. And then by adapting documents to project needs and context, so tailoring. Who deals with the 7 themes? Mainly the project manager. Because the project manager, these themes represent areas of knowledge for the project manager and support the project manager to be always informed about how the project is proceeding and how to report and to manage it properly. But also they are used by the project assurance, the change authority and the project support. Later on we will see all these roles within the organization. So let's start with the first theme, that is business case. What is the purpose of business case? The purpose is to establish mechanisms to judge whether the project is and remains desirable, viable and achievable as a means to support decision making and its continued investment. This purpose is related to the fact that these themes, mainly the business case and the continuous business justification, should not be evaluated only at the beginning of the project, but should be continuously kept into consideration in order to evaluate the viability of the project and if continuing with the project is justified and is a valid decision. So the business case supports the organization to make decision making and to undertake only those projects which really produce measurable improvements. Those measurable improvements are called benefits, as we said before. So, resuming, projects deliver outputs, as we said, in the form of products, the use of which result in changes in the business. These changes are called outcomes. The outcomes allow the business to realize the benefits that are set out in the business justification for the project. Outcomes that are perceived as negative by one or more stakeholders are called disbenefits. So the project does not produce only benefits, but may produce also disbenefits, and these disbenefits should be clearly defined since the beginning of the project in order to evaluate if the benefits are higher to costs plus risks plus disbenefits. The business justification is usually documented in the business case theme. The business case theme sets the reason for undertaking the project, and if the project is desirable, this means that the balance of costs, risks, disbenefits and benefits is valid, and so benefits are higher than costs plus risks plus disbenefits. Viable, able to deliver the product. The project manager should consider if the project is able to deliver the product at any time of the project implementation. Achievable, whether the use of the product is likely to result in envisaged outcomes and resulting benefits. So not only to produce the product, but to realize changes and to realize measurable improvements. The business justification is not just developed at the beginning of the project, but that is kept under regular review and updated in response to decisions and events that may impact the desirability, the viability, and achievability of the project. If the business justification is not valid, the executive may stop or change the project following review by the project board. What are the minimum requirements of the business case according to Prince2? The business case is the project should have and maintain a business justification for the project, usually a business case. It is called usually because it should not only be a business case, it may also be a business plan or another document that shows the desirability, viability, and achievability of the project, and the business justification. Review and update the business justification in response to decisions and events that might impact the desirability, viability, or achievability of the project. Define the management actions for project's outcomes and project's benefits that will be put in place to ensure that the project's outcomes are achieved and confirm that the project benefits are realized. Define and document the roles and responsibilities for the business case and the benefits management. What are the responsibilities? The senior user is responsible for specifying the benefits and subsequently realizing the benefits through the use of the products. As we said before, benefits usually are realized at the project closure after that the project is closed. So, using the products, the senior user has the change and the change produces the benefits. So, the senior user should specify since the beginning of the project what the benefits should be and then monitor together with the project manager if the project is going in its direction in order to achieve these benefits. The executive, ensuring that specified benefits represent value for money and are aligned with corporate, program management, or the customer. The executive is the role in the project board that is responsible for the project to produce value for money and return on investment. So, while the senior user specifies the benefits that should be achieved thanks to the use of the output, the executive specifies those benefits that are produce value for money, so that are higher than costs plus risks plus these benefits. While the project manager documents the business justification in the business case and updates the business case regularly in order to inform the project board on how the project is going on. The activities that should be developed within the business case. First thing, to develop the business case, getting the right information upon which decisions can be made. This is done at the beginning of the project, during the starting up a project, in the outline business case. Verify, assessing whether the project is still worthwhile during the controlling a project and during the managing stage boundaries. Maintain, keeping the business justification updated with actual costs and benefits and with current forecasts for costs and benefits. Confirm, assessing whether the intended benefits have been or will be realized. Confirming benefits will mostly take place post-project, although benefits may be realized during the project. The business case shown in two products, project management products. So the business case provides costs, benefits, expected disbenefits, risks and timescales against which viability is justified and continuing viability is tested. It is acceptable to use an alternative document such as corporate business plan or replace the business case for part of project life cycle. So the business case is not a compulsory document. What is compulsory is to have a document that justifies the project with and has the minimum requirements of the business case theme. The benefits management approach defines the management actions that will be put in place to ensure that the project outcomes are achieved and confirm that the project's benefits are realized. This is the document that shows how the business justification will be managed throughout the project. Organization. So let's start with the purpose of the organization theme. To define and establish the project structure and accountability and responsibilities. Each project has, every project needs effective direction, management, control and communication. Establishing an effective project management team structure and approach for communication at the beginning of the project and maintaining these throughout the project's life are essential elements for project success. The project has three principal categories of project stakeholder. The business, represented by the executive, who is responsible for ensuring that the business justifies the investment and the project provides value for money. The user, represented by those individuals or groups for whom some or all of the following will apply. They will use the output of the project, they will operate, maintain or support the project's outputs, the project's outputs will impact them. And the supplier, those who will provide the necessary skills and produce the project outputs. So, these three stakeholders are the main project stakeholders represented in the board of the project, that is the decision-making board, and those who are finally accountable for the success of the project. So let's analyze the four levels of management of a project, as well as let's check the organizational chart of a project management team structure. As you can see on the top of it, you can see the corporate or program management or the client. The corporate program management or the client is outside the project management team, and it is rated above and is responsible for commissioning the project, identifying the executive, defining the project level tolerance. For example, in a project management, in an integrated report or sustainability report, is the company's CEO, for example, who decides to undertake the project and to elaborate an integrated report or sustainability report. This corporate program management or the client is not involved in the project management team, is not involved in the development of the project, but is the organization or the person who wishes the project to be developed and business benefits to be materialized. Within the project management team, you can see that there are three levels: the directing, which is represented by the project board, represented by the senior user, the executive, and the senior supplier. The managing, represented mainly by the project board, and the project support. The business user supplier project assurance and change authority are both responsibilities of the project board, who may wish to delegate these responsibilities to other persons. So this is the managing part of the project. The delivering part of the project is represented by the team managers together with the team members. Team managers are responsible for the work packages and for realizing the specific project products. Both the executive and the senior user come from the customer. So the customer is represented in the project board by the executive and the senior user. The senior supplier represents the provider, the organization, or the organizations, such as, for example, PMIR has several senior suppliers because we are many organizations, as you can see here, developing the project. So the senior supplier is represents those who deliver the output. You can see there are the lines of authority which go from the corporate or program management or the client to the project board, and the project board has a line of authority on the project management, and the project management has a line of authority on the team manager, who has a line of authority on its team members. What does this mean? That if a team member has a problem, he or she should refer to the team manager, and the team manager should refer to the project manager, who should refer to the project board, mainly to the executive, who is the person directly responsible for the project manager. And if the project itself has a problem, maybe going outside of the tolerances, then it is the project board who should refer to the corporate program manager or the client. This means that the project manager cannot directly refer to the corporate program manager, or a team manager, if he or she has a problem, cannot refer directly to the executive, but should pass through the project management. This principle of line of authority is extremely important because it frames the decision making of each role within the project management team, and frames also the process for requesting authorization in case of going in an exception situation. Moreover, you can see that there are the project assurance responsibility lines, which are these lines. These lines are this way because the business user and supplier project assurance are direct responsibility of the project board. But in case of a complex project, in case of a project with specific competencies are requested, then this assurance may be delegated to someone else. The change authority is the person responsible for managing changes and may have also its own budget. Still, again, the change authority is responsibility of the project board, but it may be delegated to another person. Finally, you can see that there are the lines of support advice. The business, user and supplier project assurance has an important role in the managing of the project because he gives support and advice to the project manager, to the project support and to the team managers. Moreover, the project support gives, of course, support to the project manager and to team managers. So, the directing a project that is, the project board is responsible for the overall direction and management of the project within constraints set out by the corporate program manager or the customer. It is accountable for the success of the project. So the final accountable is the project board. The project manager is not the final accountable for the success of the project. The success of the project is shown by the ability of the project to realize benefits. But the project manager is responsible for the day-to-day management of the project within constraints set out by the project board. The project manager's prime responsibility is to ensure that the project produces the required outputs in accordance with the time, cost, quality, scope, benefits, and risk performance goals, so the variables that we analyzed in the previous lesson. Here we have the delivering. Delivering team members are responsible for the delivering of the project products and its components to an appropriate quality within a specified timescale and cost. The specified timescale and cost is given by the project manager to the team managers when designing the work packages. The responsibility may be delegated to a team manager who is accountable to the project manager. The project manager can also be a team manager in case the project manager has the competencies to be a team manager, or in small-scale projects, the project manager can be a team manager and also perform the project support. So let's go a bit more into details about the roles and responsibilities of these figures presented in the organizational chart. So the executive is ultimately accountable for the project's success and is the key decision maker. He appoints or she appoints the project manager and the other members of the team. The project board is not a democracy controlled by votes. The last decision maker in the project board is always the executive. This is a very important key message because this solves, in case of disputes between the senior user and the senior supplier, the executive has the last to say and is the key decision maker and is the final accountable responsible for the success of the project. Senior user specifies the needs of those who will use the project product, those for whom the product will achieve an objective, or those who will use the product to deliver benefits. Specifies the benefits and commits beyond project's life. Both of them, they come from the customer, program manager, or the client. The senior supplier represents those who will design, develop, facilitate, procure, and implement the project's product. The role is accountable for the quality of the product. Of course, the quality of the acceptance criteria and the quality of the product is supplied by the senior user, because the quality of the product is strictly connected to changes and strictly connected to benefits. But the senior supplier has the responsibility to deliver products which are in the requested quality by the senior user. These three roles represent the project board. The project assurance. Project board members are accountable for all aspects of the project assurance role aligned to the specific area of interest, so business, user and supplier assurance. But the task may be appointed to a separate individual in case the project is complex or one of the senior decision makers has not the proper time to, or is overburdened and has not the proper time to dedicate to the project, or if some competencies, specific competencies, are requested by the nature of the project. The change authority is the person permitted to authorize requests for change or of specifications. It is still the project board responsibility, but the task may be appointed to a separate individual. The role may manage a dedicated budget. If, for example, we envisage that the project may face several changes, disputes, or problems. As we said, the project manager is responsible for the day-to-day management of the project. The role of the project manager must not be shared. The project has only one project manager. The role manages the team managers and the project support, and is responsible for liaison with project assurance and the project board. Team members are responsible for producing the products allocated by the project manager. The role reports to and takes decisions from the project manager. The team manager does not communicate with the executive. The project support is responsible for administrative services or advice and guidance on the use of the project management tools. Project support is the responsibility of the project manager, but it can be delegated. The project manager can both act as team manager and as project support within a project. But since one of the roles of the project management is to delegate in complex projects, it is advisable to delegate to team managers the role of producing specialized products, and to delegate to the project support the role of archiving documents, updating registers, and support the project manager in the day-to-day management of the project. Quality theme. The purpose of the quality theme is to define and implement the means by which the project will verify that products are fit for purpose. Quality is concerned with ensuring that the project product meets business expectations and enables the desired benefits to be realized. The principal focus on products is central to quality approach. PRINCE2 requires systematic activities to explicitly agree the customer's quality expectation and the acceptance criteria for the project product. Customers' quality expectations is a statement about the quality expected from the project product, captured in the project product description, while the acceptance criteria is a prioritized list of criteria that the project product must meet before the customer will accept it. The acceptance criteria will be prioritized through the Moscow technique that we checked in the previous lesson. Must have, should have, would have, won't have. Only what is stated as must have will be produced by the project. Identify the project products. So, once that we have the project product description, we identify the specialist products that the project will produce and create the work packages in order to create those products. Project products will be all described in all its components. Define the project product and its components, including quality criteria by which they will be assessed, quality method to be used in designing, developing and approving them, and quality responsibilities for those involved. Moreover, the quality theme requests a method to manage quality throughout the project and to track this method throughout all the project life cycle. The quality planning activities during the project are, first thing, the customer's quality expectations. It is at the beginning of the project that the user should state what are the quality expectations towards the final product, and what is the acceptance criteria related to the prioritization that we checked with the Moscow technique. Once that we have these two elements, we produce the project product description. The project product description starts with these two elements, so the customer's quality expectations and the acceptance criteria. The project product description is first designed at the starting up a project, and then it is defined in the initiating a project. According to the quality of the project product description, the client can see if the project is able to achieve those benefits expected. Once that we have the project product description and then all the products that we will develop during the project life cycle, we elaborate the quality management approach. The quality management approach is the document developed during the initiating project that states how quality will be managed throughout the project. Always accordance to the organization, quality expectations, acceptance criteria, and any type of organization's quality documents that we can use in order to adapt the project to the organization where it is developed. Product descriptions. We develop the product descriptions for each product that the project will develop during its life cycle. The quality components included quality criteria and tolerances, quality method, and quality responsibilities. All these components should be included in the product description. And then we elaborate the quality register. The quality register is the document that helps to track the quality activities developed during the project in order to manage quality. Apart from quality planning, we have the quality control activities. These activities are also named quality audit tail. We start from the quality register in order to check products, to check that quality of the products, and request approval records. Of course, it is not the project manager who states that the product is within quality criteria. The project manager records the quality criteria and sends in due time to the project board the documents in order to verify that the product realized is going on the expected quality. Once receiving the records, the project board and mainly the senior user will fill out the acceptance record. In that case, the product can be finalized and accepted. Until it is not accepted, the product is not finalized. So it is not the team manager who finalizes the product, it is not the project manager who finalizes the product, it is the senior user and the project board who accept the record, accept the product, and finalize the work package or the project. So what are the responsibilities within the quality theme? The corporate program management or the customer provide quality management system and quality assurance. These systems and quality assurance are very important because the project should be tailored to these systems and should take them into consideration in order to elaborate the project quality assurance. The executive approves project product description, quality management approach, and acceptance for the project product. So, approves at the beginning the project product description elaborated at the starting up a project. Approves the quality management approach that states how quality will be managed in the project, and acceptance for all the project product, while the senior user provides the customer's quality expectations and acceptance criteria. The senior supplier provides the resources to undertake supplier quality activities and so produce the products in the required quality expectations, satisfying the acceptance criteria. While the project manager documents and ensures that quality is implemented and controlled. Two products are requested for the quality theme. Quality management approach that describes how quality will be managed in the project, and quality register that summarize the quality management activities. Plans. The fourth theme is plan. The purpose of plan theme is to facilitate communication and control by defining the means of delivering the products, the where and how, by whom, and estimating the when and how much. The management by stage principles reflects that it is usually not possible to plan the sole project from the outset. Planning becomes more difficult and uncertain the further into the future it extends. The project requests a project product description, but of course the project is managed stages by stages. Authorization is given stages by stages. So it is at each stage, in the planning of each stage, that we will go deeper and further in the description of the project, of the specialized product to be produced, and so giving making it certain that the product being produced is in the track of the defined project line. Each project has a planning horizon, that is the time period over which it is possible to plan with reasonable accuracy. So, a project has different plans which need to be managed in parallel. Apart from the project plan, which states how and when the project's time, cost, quality and scope performance targets are to be achieved. It shows the major products, activities, resources required, project's cost, timescale and so on. It is a general vision of the project and a general idea on what is the project, direction and the track to follow. Stage plan. It is the plan for each management stage. It is similar to project plan, but broken down to the level of detail required for day-to-day control by the project manager. Each management stage has a plan and it should be authorized by the project board, and it should be controlled during the controlling stage but according to what has been stated in the stage plan. The stage report will show at the end of the stage how the implemented work was in line with the stage plan. Work package provide the information relevant to the creation of the product. Apart from these three plans, which are compulsory in the project, in the Prince2 project, the creation of another, there may be other plans. For example, the exception plan. The exception plan must be produced to show the actions required to recover from or avoid a forecast deviation from agreed tolerances in the project plan or stage plan. As we said, in case the project goes beyond beyond tolerances, and so it does not remain into the ordinary management, the project manager has to ask to raise an exception to the project board, who may reply in the creation of an exception plan. The exception plan, once being created, will still be authorized from the project board, and in case being authorized, it will substitute the following management stage, and become a normal stage plan. So exception plans are developed in the same way as the stage plans. Team plans are optional level of plan used as the basis for the team management control when executing work packages. So in complex projects, the team manager may require the creation of team plans. Team plans will be inside the scope of the work package, and team plans will support the team manager to coordinate the work of the team members. The principle of Prince2 of focus on products influences how planning is done within a Prince2 project. Because the principle to focus on products states that what needs to be developed, the product, must be identified before deciding what activities, dependencies, and resources are required to deliver those products. The project product defines the direction of the project from the specific objective to the final output. So the final output, the project product, defines the direction of the project. And planning is done accordingly. This approach of planning according to a focus on products is called product-based planning technique. What are the benefits of the product-based planning? Why this method decides to work on products first, outputs first, and then with the activities? It is very usual that when we start thinking about developing something, about developing a project, it is very usual to talk about activities. I will produce something, I will buy something. We always use verbs, but it is very rare to start thinking according to products. The project will produce this. The project will produce the integrated report, sustainability report. Yes, but how will this report be? What are its characteristics? What are its components? How long does it take to develop? And as soon as we describe the final product, then we come back describing the other products that we need to produce, and then once defining the products, we define what are the activities. So instead of starting from the activities, we start from the description of the product. This is completely a change in mindset. And this is one of the main features of this method, because it allows to avoid scope creep, it allows to avoid a lot of work being developed without bringing real benefits. So, what are the benefits of using this type of product-based planning? What are the benefits of describing the products and only afterwards starting to describe the activities being developed for the product? This is the contrary of working with of planning through work-based planning. Product-based planning is the opposite of work-based planning techniques. So, first thing is that this way we can clearly and consistently identify and document the products to be produced by the plan and the interdependencies between them. This reduces the risk of important scope aspects being neglected or overlooked. Only if we have very clear what we are going to achieve, we avoid making extra work or to put less effort in some aspects which probably are very important. And this is also connected to the ability, to the competence of the project manager in being very careful for details. Removing any ambiguity over what the project is expected to produce. This is another very important benefit, because if we think that in the project board there is always this equilibrium between the senior user and the senior supplier, who has to provide resources, and the senior user who will always expect more and more from the project, because it is related to its expectations and to the measurable benefits that will directly impact the senior user by definition, then making it very clear over what the project is expected to produce also creates harmony and collaboration between all parties of the project, and prioritizing what we will develop and what will not be developed. Involving users in specifying the product requirements, thus increasing buy-in and reducing approval disputes. Again, the same concept explained before. Involving users is extremely important, because the user has to accept the final product at the end of the project. So it is the user who has to give the quality expectations, the acceptance criteria, and it is the senior supplier who has to confirm that these quality expectations and acceptance criteria can really be developed through the available resources. And improving communication. The product breakdown structure, which we will see in a couple of minutes, and the product flow diagram provides simple and powerful means for sharing and discussing options for the scope and approach to be adopted by the project. So, scope and approach. Clarifying the scope boundary, defining products which are not in the scope of the project. As we said, the scope is provided by the number of products being developed by the project, the number and the description. So this way we define what is out of scope and what is within the scope. So what will not be developed. It may be developed, but maybe within another project. And then it supports the preparation of the work packages for the suppliers, represented at the delivery stage by the team managers, who are the responsibles for producing the products of each work package. Gaining a clear agreement on production, review and approval responsibilities, because since the project is naturally evolving during its life cycle, we cannot think about a project being fixed and being blocked as it was planned in the initial documents. It is always an evolving project. So we need to review, we need to ask for authorization, we need to ask for approval, and we need to ask for responsibilities from the individuals who have a specific role within the organization. It is not the responsibility of the project manager to decide if the product is in the quality expected. This is very, very, very important. So, how is the product-based planning technique developed? It is developed into 4 stages. First thing, writing a project product description. The project product description defines what the customer is expecting in the project to deliver. It is used to define the project approach, that is, the solutions or method to be used by the supplier to create the project product. The project product description is only used for the project plan and not for the other plans such as stage plan or work package plan. The quality expectations and acceptance criteria are included only in the project product description, not in the other product descriptions. Then we create a product breakdown structure. The product breakdown structure is broken, the project product description is broken into its major products, which are then broken down until an appropriate level of detail for the plan is reached. A lower level product can be a component of only one higher level product. The resultant hierarchy of products is known as a product breakdown structure. We will see the product breakdown structure in the following slide. Later on, we write product descriptions. Product descriptions are used to understand the detailed nature, purpose, function and appearance of a product. It is produced as soon as the need of the product is identified. Once that we create the product descriptions, we create the product flow diagram. The product flow diagram is another very helpful tool in identifying and defining the sequence in which the products of the plan will be developed and any dependencies between them. It also helps to identify dependencies on any products outside the scope of the plan. It leads naturally to the consideration of the activities required and provides the information for other planning techniques, such as estimating and scheduling. Now let's have a look at a product breakdown structure for the creation of a conference. The conference is the project product, the final project product, and we have it here. And we have the hierarchy of products that should be created before having the final product. you can see by definition that these squares are product groups, while here you can see the external products. Every product group has a list of other products which should be achieved before having the finalized product. So, for example, in case we need the venue, we need to start by the venue to describe the venue requirements, then to describe the candidate venues, to ask for candidate venues, then to check for venue assessments, and then to select and book the venue. Once that we have selected and booked the venue, we can say that we have a venue for our conference. Every product has a record, a reference number. So you can see 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4. And this way go all the other products of the project. Something different, you can see at the attendees we have 4 products, but 2 are going to be produced inside the scope of the project, while 2 are outside the scope of the project. So they are external products. So probably we will need to buy them, or we will need to maybe we have them. We have just they will not take any resource out of the project in order to be developed. So we have the mailing list and responses, booking arrangements, final attendance list. We have the final attendee list, and then we have the attendees. And this way, so this is a very simple product breakdown structure. As you can see, a very important external product which should be kept into consideration, which will not be created during the project, but which is essential, is previous conference lessons and materials. So, have we ever organized this conference? Maybe yes. Or does a competitor or does one of our colleagues have already developed a conference? So, let's learn from the previous conference lessons. Let's take any material already developed that we can keep and improve the quality of what will be developed. So this is learning from previous lessons principle. As you can see, you can find the at least the 7 principles in all the project life cycle and in every activity that the project manager develops. So, taking the product breakdown structure, let's see now the product flow diagram. As we said, the product flow diagram is helpful in identifying and defining the sequence in which the products of the plan will be developed and any dependencies between them. It is also helpful to identify dependencies on any products outside the scope of the project. It leads naturally to the consideration of the activities required and provides the information for other planning techniques, such as estimating and scheduling. These are not activities, these are products. So, the way of planning is not based on activities. What does it mean? It means that we are not describing how we are going to arrange speaker options. We are not talking about how much it will take to elaborate the speaker options, or who will do it, or what means we will use, what tools, resources we will use for this output. But we are just starting by defining that we need speaker options. We need speaker invitations. We are not describing the activities that stay behind the speaker invitations. This is the basis. This is the basis of this planning technique. So here we can see the dependencies. Which output depends out of which? In this case, having a clear vision of the dependencies between outputs, we can also start by understanding which activities should be developed first. And as you can see, the final conference is directly depending by C.4 on the day stuff and delegate handouts. Moreover, it's very interesting to see the dependencies between the external activities and between the external outputs and the outputs that are going to be developed within the project. Because this shows us that we need immediately to start by getting the outside activities, because these may create delays because they are outside of the scope of the project. They are not directly managed by the project manager or by a team manager. They have to be taken from outside. So once having this product flow diagram, we can start by talking about the activities, by making a plan, by developing a Gantt chart, by making estimates and scheduling. So the plan theme asks for 4 products: the project product description, the product breakdown structure, and the plan. Plan, which is project plan, stage plan, and work packages. All these products are already available as baselines, except for the product breakdown structure, because the product breakdown structure does not necessarily need to be in this way. It can be a mind map, for example. The most important thing is that the product breakdown structure shows the hierarchy between the products. So let's start with the 5th theme, that is risk. What is the purpose of managing risks? To identify, assess, and control uncertainty, and as a result, improve the ability of the project to succeed. This theme addresses how project management manages the uncertainties in plans and in the wider project environment. What is a risk? A risk is an uncertain event or set of events that, should it occur, will have an effect on the achievement of the objectives. A risk is measured by a combination of the probability of a perceived threat or opportunity occurring and the magnitude of its impact on the project. Depending on the negative or positive impact they have on projects if they occur, risks can be threats, uncertain events that would have a negative impact on objectives, opportunity, uncertain events that would have a positive impact on objectives. All projects encounter uncertainty when trying to achieve their objectives. This uncertainty may arise from events inside or outside the organization. For example, there may be an uncertainty over the ability of the organization to agree the scope of the project within certain timescale or the availability of critical resources. There might also be uncertainty about the final scope and shape or legislation within which a project is required to ensure compliance. The risk theme envisages a risk management procedure. So, managing risks within Prince2 project is not done by a goodwill, but by a specific procedure, which starts by identifying the risk, assessing the risk, planning the risk, implementing the risk, and communicating. Identify means to identify the context and the risk. Assess, to estimate and to evaluate and to plan responses. To communicate it operates in parallel, as the outputs of any of other steps may need to be communicated to stakeholders at any point of the process. All the steps are repeatable. The additional information becomes available. It is often necessary to repeat earlier steps based on the new information. So let's have a look now at each of these steps. Identify. Identify means to obtain information about the project in order to understand the specific objectives that are at risk and to formulate the risk management strategy for the project. The risk management strategy describes how risks will be managed during the project. The project's risk management strategy should be based on the corporate, program manager or the client risk management policy or on the program's risk management strategy. When identifying, we identify the risk cause, the source triggering the risk, the risk event, the area of uncertainty in terms of threats and opportunity, the risk effect, the impact that the risk would have on the project objectives should the risk materialize. We are still talking about a planning procedure of the risk. We are talking about events that may materialize. We don't know yet if they will materialize or not, but we plan the probability of the project to have some events that would have an impact on the project objectives. So, when we identify each risk that may impact the project, we identify the cause, the event, and the effect. So, what effect that risk, should it materialize, will have on the project objectives. Project objectives called the variables that we saw before. Once having identified the risks, then we assess them. We assess them by estimating the risk, the threat and opportunities to the project in terms of their probability to occur and the impact on the objectives. Then multiplying the probability and the impact, we get the value of the risk. Once having the value, we estimate the risk proximity, how quickly the risk is likely to materialize if no action were taken. So, is the risk going to materialize in 1 month, in 2 weeks, at the end of the project, during this stage, during the next stage, during a work package? When is the risk materializing? This way we can also have understand the impact of the risk on the project objectives related to that specific moment of the project or from that moment on. Evaluate the net effect of all identified threats and opportunities on a project when aggregated together. If the risk exposure of the project is higher than the risk appetite, control actions will need to be planned in response. What is the risk exposure is the extent of risk borne by the organization at the time. And what is the risk appetite is the organization's unique attitude towards risk-taking that in turn dictates the amount of risk that it considers acceptable. So, if the risk exposure is higher than the risk appetite, we should plan responses. Prince2 envisages some responses that we can give to both to threats and opportunities. Again, these responses are planned. We are not giving responses at the moment of planning or at the moment of the procedure. We are just finding a response in case should the risk materialize. So for threats, for example, we can avoid a threat. So remove the risk, change something in the project in order to avoid that the risk materialize. Or exploit an opportunity, implement the cause of an opportunity. We can reduce the threat or enhance an opportunity. Reduce a threat means change the opportunity or the impact of the risk, so mitigate the risk. Do something in order to change the opportunity or the impact. Enhance the opportunity, make the opportunity more likely to occur. Transfer the risk, both for threats and opportunities. Pass the risk to a third party, such as, for example, the insurance. Or share the risk, both for threats and opportunities, to seek multiple parties, typically within a supply chain, to share the risk on a pain-gain share basis. Encourage collaboration on the risk management activities, particularly in programs and projects. We can accept the risk both for threats and opportunities, take the chance that the risk will occur with its full impact if it did. This is the case, for example, when avoiding the risk or mitigating the risk has a higher cost than simply accepting the risk. Prepare a contingent plan, both for threat and opportunity. Preparing plans now, but not taking action now. This is also called fallback plans. We accept the risk for now, but we'll make a plan for what we'll do if the situation changes. So these are some responses that we can give to risks. Plan. Prepare specific management responses to the threat and opportunities identified, ideally to remove or reduce the risk and to maximize the opportunity. These are the responses that we just saw together. Implement. Ensure that the planned risk responses are actioned, their effectiveness monitored, and corrective action taken where responses do not match expectations. So, once having identified the risk, we find the monitoring tool, we identify the monitoring tool in order to check that the likeliness of the event, of the risk to show. And finally, we communicate. The communicate step should ensure that information related to the threats and opportunities faced by the project is communicated both within the project and externally to stakeholders. The risk theme envisages two management products, the risk management approach and the risk register. The risk management approach states how we are going to manage risks within the project, while the risk register is the document that monitors, updates and monitors risks. We first register the identified risks within this risk register, and then we update the risk with any changes to the risks or with new risks. So let's check now the sixth theme, that is change. What is the purpose of change theme? To identify, assess and control any potential and approve changes to baselines. Baseline are a reference level against which an entity is monitored and controlled. Change is inevitable during the life of the project, and every project needs a systematic approach to the identification, assessment and control of issues that may result in change. Type of issue. What are the types of issues that we can face within the project? We can have a request for change, a proposal for a change to a baseline. For example, the senior user would like to increase the capacity of a product from 100 to 150 users. Of specification, something that should be provided by the project but currently is not, or is forecast not to be. It might be a missing product or a product not meeting its expectations. For example, an advice from a supplier that they can no longer deliver one of the products specified by the customer. Or any problem or concern, any other issue that the project manager needs to resolve or escalate. For example, an advice from a team manager that a team member has been taken ill, and as a result, the target and date for a work package will slip by a week. Notification that one of the suppliers has gone bankrupt, resulting in the need to identify and engage a new supplier. These are problems or concerns that happen very frequently in projects. So we need to assess how we can manage these changes in order to avoid that the project goes under exception. There is also an issue and change control procedure. The project manager will use daily log or issue register or issue reports to register any change happened in the project. Daily logs are used by the project manager for recording those issues that can be managed informally, while issue registers are used by the project manager to record those issues that should be managed formally. So the first thing is to capture risks, to capture issues. The project manager will determine the issue type, so of specification, request for change, or problem concern. The severity and the priority of the change, so the severity, what is the impact on the project, and the priority, how urgent the change is, or what is the impact. So is the impact facing the current stage, the future change, or this work package, the future stage or this work package, and decide if to add it in the daily log or in the issue register. So if the decision making, if the change does not affect the tolerance given to the project manager, then the project manager will record the risk in the daily log. If the issue has goes beyond the decision-making level of the project manager, then it is registered into the issue register. Once being captured, it is examined. So, assess the impact on the project objectives, again the 6 performance targets, on the business case, because we need to assess the viability, achievability, and of the project. And then on the project plan, because we need to check the project direction and its capacity to meet the final project result. Again, once being examined, the project manager checks the severity and the priority, also using the Moscow technique. Once being examined, changes are passed. Those changes that cannot be proposed, that cannot be managed informally, are passed to the project board or to the change authority through a request for change. The project board or the change authority may come back asking a proposal. So the project manager will proposing options, will identify, will evaluate the options, and will recommend what option to follow. Will prepare the request for advice and exception report to the project manager, to the project board, who will come back and say and decide if to escalate it beyond the delegated authority or to approve, reject or defer the option. Then it is the project board who will tell the project manager how to implement the change. So in this case, the project manager takes corrective action, update the work package, for example, or create an exception plan, or update records and plans, so the status of the project. All this will be recorded on the daily log in the issue register or issue report. And the final theme, that is progress. What is the purpose of progress? The purpose is to establish mechanisms to monitor and compare actual achievements against those planned, provide a forecast for the project objectives and the project's continued viability, and control any unacceptable deviations. What is progress? Progress is the measure of the achievement of the objectives of the plan. It can be monitored at work package, stage and project level. Progress is provided through delegating authority from one level of management to the level below it. Through the allocation of tolerances, we could see when in the project organizational chart that the project boards delegates authority to the project manager, who delegates authority to the team manager. Delegating authority happens through the allocation of tolerances. Dividing the project into management stages and authorizing the project one management stage at a time. This happens by the project board towards the project manager. The project board authorizes the project in the directing a project process. Time-driven and event-driven progress reporting and reviews. Time-driven reports are those reports presented at predefined periodic intervals. Monthly highlight reports for the project board or weekly checkpoint reports showing the progress of a work package. So the project manager reports to the project board through highlight reports, which are the time is decided at the project initiation, and the team manager reports to the project manager through checkpoint reports at periodic interval defined again during the initiation of the project. Event-driven reports take place when a specific event occurs. For example, the end-stage assessment at the end of the management stage, organizational events that may affect the project, such as the end of the financial year. and raising exceptions. When are exceptions raised? When any risk or any change or any problem or concern or events takes the management level, the work package or the management stage out of the tolerances. So in this case, the change process should be activated and authorization should be asked to the upper management level. So this was the part related to themes, and which are the knowledge areas of the project management and which support the project manager in the management of the project. We will see now all these terms, all these management documents during the next part of the lesson, and which is related to processes. So let's start with the process approach. PRINCE2 is a process-based approach for project management. What are processes? Processes are a structured set of activities designed to accomplish a specific objective. A process takes one or more defined inputs and turns them into defined outputs. PRINCE2 envisages 7 project management processes, which provide the set of activities required to direct, manage and deliver a project successfully. Direct for the project board, manage for the project manager, and deliver for the team manager. The first one being starting up a project. You have heard the starting up a project during several times during this lesson. Starting up a project, or SU, is related to project board and project manager. PM stands for project manager. Directing a project, it is a project board oriented process. Initiating a project, it is project manager's responsibility for the initiating a project. Controlling a stage, it is the project manager responsibility, and as we said, this is the part where the project manager carries out its daily, day-to-day activity. Managing product delivery, this is team manager responsibility and is related to the development of the specialist products of the project. Managing stage boundary, again, this is project manager activity, set of activities, and it is related when one stage is finished and the next stage is starting. This is the managing the passage between the two stages. And finally, closing a project. Again, this is project manager related set of activity, and this is the final stage of the project in order to have a fixed closure of the project. So let's see how these processes are developed during the project life cycle. As you can see, here you have the directing, the managing and the delivering management level. The project life cycle starts with the initiation stage and finish with the final stage, so the closure. In the pre-project, we have the starting up a project, which is triggered by the project mandate provided by the corporate program manager or the customer. As soon as the project initiates, the directing a project starts, and this is project board related activity, which assures through this process the project board is assured accountability and responsibility for the project. During the initiation state, at managing level, we start the initiating a project process. Once that the project has been authorized, the managing stage boundary starts. During the subsequent project stages, the project manager will concentrate on controlling a stage and managing a stage boundary at the end of one stage and at the beginning of the other stage. At delivery level, the team managers are concentrating in managing product delivery, so delivering the specialist products of the project. These activities here are developed as many times as the management stages and the work packages are in the project. At the end of the project, again, we will have the final delivery stage, again the controlling stage, but at the end of the last stage, we won't have any managing a stage boundary because we will only start closing the project. So at the end of the last management stage, the project manager will start to plan the closing a project. The closing a project is the final stage. All the outputs of these management stages should be authorized by the director of project, who report to the corporate program management or the customer, who is responsible for the post-project benefits, reviewing project outcomes and benefits. These activities here are the project environment. Now let's start with the first process. The first process starting up a project is project board and project manager oriented. The purpose of starting a project is to ensure that the prerequisites for initiating a project are in place by answering the question, do we have a viable and worthwhile project? It is about preventing poorly conceived projects from being initiated, as it is about approving the initiation of viable projects. The aim is to do the minimum necessary in order to decide whether it is worthwhile to even initiate the project. So at this stage, we don't have a project yet. What are the activities? First activity, to appoint the executive and the project manager. The executive and the project manager are appointed by the corporate program manager or the client through the project mandate. Once being appointed, the project manager will create the daily log. Capture previous lessons. The project manager will start capturing previous lessons from other projects managed, from colleagues, from senior project managers, or from the organization itself, and creates the lessons log. Design and appoint the project management team. The project manager designs the project management team. That is, create the project management team role description, create project management team structure, and prepare the outline business case. As we said, in this moment we don't have a full business case, we just have an outline business case, which will be helpful to the project board in order to understand if the project is worthwhile to be initiated or not. The business case is created, the project product description is created, and then the project approach is created and selected and assembled in the project brief. The project brief will contain the outline business case, the project product description, the management team role descriptions, and the project management team structure, plus the previous lessons. daily log will be updated. Moreover, the project manager will plan the initiation stage so that when the project board will authorize the project, will also authorize when the project board will authorize the project, the first stage that will authorize will be the initiation stage. What are the roles and responsibilities? At corporate program management, or the client provides the project mandate, which is the triggering document for the project, for starting up a project. Provide project level tolerances and appoints the executive and may appoint the project manager. If the corporate program manager or the client does not appoint the executive, then it does not appoint the project manager, then it is the executive that appoints the project manager. The executive appoints the project manager in case not being appointed previously, approves the project management team, drafts the outline business case, since it is the executive who is responsible for the business case, although this can be outlined together with the project manager, and the senior user provides the quality expectations and the acceptance criteria for the project product descriptions, since they have to be recorded in the document project product description. While the project manager produces daily log and lesson log, produces the project management team structure and the project management role description, produces project product description, produces project approach, and assembles the project brief. All these documents and produces the stage plan for the initiation stage. All these documents are sent to the project board for the authorization to initiate the project. The project board activities are collected in the directing a project process. What is the purpose of the directing a project? To enable the project board to be accountable for the project success by making key decisions and exercising overall control while delegating day-to-day management of the project to the project manager. The directing a project process starts on completion of the starting up a project process and is triggered by the request to initiate the project sent by the project manager to the project board. The directing a project process does not cover the day-to-day activities of the project manager, but the activities of those at the level of management above the project manager. That is the project board. The project board manages by exception. It monitors via reports and controls through a small number of decision points. There should be no need for other progress meetings for the project board. The project board is responsible for assuring that there is continued business justification. The directing a project process provides a mechanism for the project board to achieve such assurance without being overburdened by the project activity. One of the functions of the project board is to provide informal advice and guidance to the project manager, as well as formal direction. The project manager should seek advice whenever necessary during the course of the project. What are the activities of the directing a project? Authorized initiation, as we said, it's the first activity. After having received the project brief, the project board will authorize initiation. Once having received the project initiation documentation, the project board may authorize the project to start. Authorize the stage or exception plan. At the end, in the managing stage boundary, the project manager will present the stage plan for the next stage, or an exception plan in case the project has gone out of its tolerances. The stage plan or the exception plan will be authorized by the project board through the directing of project. Give ad hoc direction in case of any problems encountered. The project manager may ask support by the project board, and in this case the project board will give ad hoc direction. Authorize project closure. Once being, when the final output is being delivered and the final output has been accepted, the project manager will propose the project closure. It is not the project manager who closes the project. It is the project board who will authorize the project closure. So, through the directing a project, the project board gave the authorization to initiate the project. So, the initiating of project process will start. This is project manager oriented set of activities. What is the purpose of initiating a project? To establish solid foundations for the project, enabling the organization to understand the work that needs to be done to deliver the project's products before committing to a significant spend. Initiating a project is aimed at laying down the foundations in order to achieve a successful project. Specifically, all parties must be clear on what the project is intended to achieve, why it is needed, how the outcome is to be achieved, and what their responsibilities are, so that there can be genuine commitment on it. What are the activities of the initiating a project? Agree on the tailoring requirements. The project manager may need to tailor how the project is directed and managed in order to recognize the internal and external factors that affect the way in which the project is delivered. Any deviation from the organization's standard project management approach must be documented and agreed. Prepare the risk management approach, as that we saw before. Prepare the change management approach. So, preparing the quality management approach, preparing the communication management approach, and setting up controls. In the communication management approach, the roles and responsibilities will be described, and the lines of communication and lines of control will be communicated, as well as all the procedures on how to communicate within the organization of the project, how to archive documents, and how to save baselines will be also recorded in the communication management approach. The other approaches were analyzed before and provide the management how these things will be managed during the project. Setting up project controls is related to progress theme. We'll create the project plan and we'll prepare the benefits management approach, again related to this, to the themes that we checked previously. Then we'll assemble the project initiation documentation, the so-called PID. The PID contains all the baseline of the project and will be considered as a document upon which to rely for analyzing if the project is going in the right direction or not. The activities to establish the approaches for the project may be executed in parallel, but it is recommended that the communication management approach is completed last, as it will need to include any communications required by other approaches. Roles and responsibilities. The project board will approve all the documents in the PID during the directing a project process. The project assurance reviews all the documents in the PID in order to ensure tailoring and standards, while the project manager produces all documents in the PID, sets up project controls, role descriptions and project management team structure, assembles the PID, creates the project plan and the stage plan for the next stage, which will be the first project stage, and the project support produces the registers, risk, issue and quality register. It will be project support responsibility to update regularly these registers. So, the project has been authorized by the project board through the directing a project, and the project can start. The controlling a stage project is a process that the project manager will deliver every time that there is a stage manager, every time that there is a management stage. The purpose of controlling a stage is to assign work to be done, monitor such work, deal with issues, report progress to the project board, and take corrective actions to ensure that the stage remains within tolerances. The controlling a stage process describes the work of the project manager in handling the day-to-day management of the stage. The process will be used for each delivery stage of the project. Towards the end of each stage, except the final one, the activities within the managing a stage boundary process will occur. The controlling a stage process is normally first used after the project board authorized the project, but it may optionally be used during the initiation stage for large or complex projects with a lengthy initiation. The process is repeated for every project stage. The activities are project manager oriented and comprise work package activities, authorize a work package, review a work package, receive completed work packages, monitoring and reporting, review the management stage status, report highlights. Highlights report are time-driven reports and are used to communicate to the project board the progress of the stage management. And then the third category is issues and risks. Capture and assess issues and risks. If an issue can be dealt with by the project manager informally, then this should be done and a note made in the daily log. If not, change management will be triggered. Capture, assess, propose, decide, implement, and then take corrective actions. So, escalate issues and risks in case they should be managed formally and take corrective actions. All activities are delivered by the project manager with guidance, support and authorization by the project board and the project assurance. Project registers are maintained, archived and updated by the project support. Managing product delivery. Managing product delivery is a team manager-oriented set of activities. The purpose of managing product delivery is to control the link between the project manager and the team managers by placing requirements on accepting, executing and delivering work. Our activities are team-oriented, team manager-oriented. Accept a work package. Create a team plan, create a risk register, update the quality register, agree the quality register, agree to deliver the work package. The concept of accepting a work package is extremely important because if we don't make sure that the person or responsible for delivering the activities has understood clearly what he or she is supposed to do, and if we don't make it clear and if we don't have an agreement with that person, the risk may be that we have misunderstandings, delays, products produced not in the requested quality, and so problems and related to the project, to the management of the project. It is extremely important that the team manager accepts a work package. We cannot pretend that because we are the project manager, we cannot pretend that the team manager delivers a project, delivers an output in the requested quality just because we have asked that team manager to do that, just because he's supposed to do that. No, this is not enough. We have to have an agreement. Moreover, not only, but we need to develop the work package together with the team manager. We need to have a collaborative approach, and we need the work package to be planned in such a way that it can be that the product can be feasibly achievable. So this concept of accepting a work package, in my opinion, is extremely important, because this gives these guarantees to the project manager that the work package will be developed as requested, apart from the problems, apart from the changes, apart from the risks that the team manager can encounter during the delivery. But at least what is to be developed has been agreed and accepted. Execute the work package. Create specialist products. Create checkpoint reports. We said that checkpoint reports are time-driven reports used by the team manager to communicate to the project manager the status of the work package. Update registers and obtain approval records. Who does the team manager obtain approval records from? From the project manager. It is the project manager who approves the work package of the team manager during the controlling stage process. Deliver a work package. The role of the team manager is to coordinate an area of work that will deliver one or more of the project's product. They can be internal or external to the customer's organization. Managing product delivery so views the project from the team manager's perspective, while the controlling stage process views it from the project manager's perspective. During the delivery of a work package, the team manager will update the work package, will update the team plan, will notify to the project manager that the work package is complete. Activities are team manager's responsibility. The team manager seeks support from the project assurance. The project manager reviews records and plans and gives authorization. These are the roles within the managing product delivery. Now, managing stage boundary. Again, managing stage boundary is project manager oriented process. The purpose of managing stage boundary is to enable the project board to be provided with sufficient information by the project manager so that it can review the success of the current stage, approve the next stage plan, review and update project plan, and confirm continued business justification and acceptability of the risks. Therefore, the process should be executed at or close to the end of each management stage. So we start planning the next management stage before the end of the current management stage. We don't wait for the the end of the management stage in order to start planning the next one. Why? Because after having planned the stage, it needs to be authorized, and it may the project board may request more information, may request any change. So in order to avoid the loss of time in the passage from one management stage to the other, we start planning the next management stage before completing the current management stage. What are the activities? The activities are project manager oriented. The project manager will plan the next management stage. What we'll do? We'll update the PID. So we'll update the project initiation documentation, the project baselines. We'll create the stage plan for the next management stage. We'll update registers in order to see if any risk, any issue is still in place, has been replied, has may produce any further impact on the project objectives, and what are the quality activities delivered so far. We'll update the project plan in order to see where we are with respect to where we were supposed to be. We'll update the business case, and this is important because the project manager should provide the project board with information on the continuous viability, achievability of the project. Together with the business case, we'll update the benefits management actions taken during the management stage. We'll report the actual management stage, so create an end stage report, create lessons report related to the lessons learned so far or learned during the current management stage. We'll create follow-on action recommendation in order to pass lessons to the next management stage, or in order to ask for further action on any product that has been completed. And we'll produce an exception, or we'll produce an exception plan. So, as we said, projects do not always go to plan, and in response to an exception report, if the stage or project is forecast to exceed its tolerances, the project board may request that the current stage and possibly the project is replanned. The output from the replanning is an exception plan, which is submitted to the project board approval in the same way that the stage plan is submitted for approval. When the new stage will start, the exception stage, will become the new stage of the project, and so the project is being replanned. What are the responsibilities? The process is project manager's responsibility. So the project manager delivers the listed activities. The project support updates registers, while the project assurance reviews documents and gives direction. So we have finalized our project, we have achieved our outputs, so the project is about to close. But we cannot close the project like that. We have a set of activities that ensure that the project is closed in the correct way, that the outputs are accepted, that the project closure is authorized, and that benefits will materialize at project closure and possibly remain sustainable. So, what is the purpose of closing a project? To provide the fixed point at which acceptance of the project product is confirmed, and to recognize that objectives set out in the original project initiation documentation, that is the PID, have been achieved, or approved changes to the objectives have been achieved, or that the project has nothing more to contribute. One of the defining features of a project is that it is finite. It has a start and an end. If the project loses this distinctiveness, it loses some of its advantages over poorly operational management approaches. Closure activities should be planned as part of the stage plan for the final management stage. When closing a project, the project manager is required to prepare input to the project board in order to obtain its authorization to close the project. Subsequently, the executive should also notify corporate or program manager or the client that the project has closed. What are the activities which are project manager oriented? Prepare project closure. Update the project plan for the last time. Create the product status account. The product status account is a report on the status of the products. The required products can be specified by identifier or the part of the project in which they were developed. We could see before with the product breakdown structure that each product had a reference number, an identifier, which identifies the product and the work package where it is being developed. Prepare a premature close. In case the project needs a premature closure, so that, for example, the project is not achieving its business improvements, so that is not producing the benefits expected, the project should be closed previously. In this case, the project manager will prepare the premature closure of the project. What will the project manager do? Again, update the project plan, update issue register, and create the product status account, and create the additional work estimates. So in this case, the project plan will be updated because we need to prepare a report on how the project was developed, but also we will update the issue register in order to show what were the issues that tackled the project and didn't allow the project to achieve its final output. It will create the product status account in order to show at which point the product has been completed, and then we'll create additional work estimates in order to show what still remains to be done in case the project is restarted, or in case the output needs to be completed with another project. Then hands over products. Create, update, follow an action recommendation. So products need to be handed over to the senior user who is supposed to use these products, and will create or will update a follow-on action recommendation. So what are the maintenance costs, the updating costs, the activities which were out of project scope that still need to be developed, and what resources may be needed in order to maintain the output, to produce change, and then benefits. Update the benefits review plan. So at the end of the project, do we have the same benefits that we expected at the beginning of the project? What are the changes? Do we have new benefits? Have we already achieved some of project benefits? And obtain acceptance record. So the project can be closed if the output has been accepted, either in premature closure or in project closure. Evaluate the project. Create an end project report. Create the lessons report. And recommend project closure. The project manager recommends to the project board the project closure, does not decide himself or herself to close the project. It is the project board who decides to close the project after having accepted, after having evaluated and accepted the project, the final output. When recommending project closure, the project manager will close the issue, risk, quality register and lessons log, and will prepare the draft project closure notification, which will be authorized by the project board. So this way our project has been closed, we did a great job, and the final output will produce the expected changes and so the expected benefits. All that said, how can we tailor all these activities and outputs and management tools to every single project? As we said, projects are unique by definition. They are cross-functional, they are very uncertain, so we cannot keep all of the method and apply it as it is to every single project, because this way we will have a big problem, which is because we will not respect one of the project management principles, that is tailoring. So let's see how can we tailor the project. First thing, what is the definition of tailoring? Tailoring is adapting a method or process to suit the situation in which it will be used. The goal is to apply a level of project management that does not overburden the project management team, but provides an appropriate level of governance and control and at an acceptable level of risk. Tailoring as a Prince2 principle is mandatory. Only if the organization does not consider tailoring, it is not using Prince2. So what can we tailor? We can tailor processes. Processes can be combined or can be adapted by adding or combining activities. It depends on the complexity of the project or on the specific requests by the corporate program manager or the client. We can adapt themes. Themes can be applied using techniques that are appropriate to the project. We can use the Prince2 baseline, but we are not obliged to do so. We can use other products which are similar or which achieve the same objectives. The most important thing is to satisfy at least the minimum requirements for each theme. For example, instead of using a business case, we can use a business plan. Roles can be combined or split, provided that accountability is maintained and there are no conflict of interest. For example, the project should have only one project manager, but the project manager can also act as project support and can also act as team manager. But the project manager cannot be a project assurance, because project assurance is responsibility of the project board. While in the project board, the executive can also act as senior supplier and senior user, provided that the same person can satisfy the roles and responsibilities to these stakeholders. Management products can be combined or split into any number of documents or data sources. They will often take the form of formal documents, but it can equally be slide decks, wall charts, or data held on an IT system, if more appropriate for the project and its environment. Moreover, the terminology can be changed to suit other standards of policies, provided it is applied consistently. And then how do we apply tailoring? If the organization does not have its own project management method, then we can apply the Prince2 manual and method. If the organization has its own project management method, the Prince2 method will be adapted. It is the project manager who is responsible for documenting the level of tailoring to the project during the initiating of project process and in the bid. We could see that during the initiating of project process, the first activity that the project manager delivered was tailoring the project to the specific environment. Now the lesson is over, but before closure, I would like to give a final tip taken from the manual of Prince2 for managing projects. The way a method is drafted influences the extent to which it will be used. A method which has a consistent look and feel with a logical structure is likely to promote more confidence in its users than one which is documented in a variety of formats, styles and media. Make sure the content is consistent, especially the terminology, whether in information systems, documents, posters, videos, presentations or websites. The greater the consistency between the parts, the easier it will be for people to understand. So thank you. So I see that so the lesson is over, and I can see that there are no more questions this time. So I will wait for a while in case there are some last minute questions, and so that we can then close the lesson. In any case, you will have the slides uploaded on the mock, and also the comments. Okay, enjoy Eurovision, you as well. And so you will have the slides and you can check them in case any information, or you can contact me whenever you want. So thank you.